All right, guys, it is time for math, and this is lesson 7 in module 6 for you on your books. In your Eureka math book, the one that looks like this, the one that is our module one, it's going to be page 51. For you, the numbers are slightly different than what I'm doing, but the format is the same. So as we look at it, we're going to be looking at transferring and how you take decimals, fractions, numbers, whole numbers, mixed numbers, and put them all together, how they relate to each other. So if you look at this one, I have 3 tens here. It says, write the decimal number sentence to identify the total value of the place value discs. Here are your place value discs right here. There are 3 tens. 3 tens is equivalent to 30. There are 4 tenths. 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths, which is 0.4, 4 tenths. And then there are 2 hundredths, which is 0.02. When you add all of those together, it is 30 and 42 hundredths, excuse me. And as you add those up, you want to remember that when we're adding fractions, it's a lot like adding numbers. So I've got the whole number here. There's an imaginary decimal right after a whole number. Even if you don't see it right there, there is an imaginary decimal right after a whole number. It would be like having a whole bunch of zeros. Now, in this case, the decimal is right before it, so it would be 4 tenths. And this one, it would be 2 hundredths. And if you add that up as an addition problem, you want to make sure that the decimals always line up, just like they do in money. So it would be 2 plus 0, 4 plus 0, 0 plus 0, and 3 plus 0. And the final answer would be 30 and 42 hundredths. Looking at the bottom one, I see a problem on here. Somebody made a typo where they should have left off this one to make it match. However, I do know that on your problem, it is 5 hundredths. So I'm going to go ahead and make an arbitrary decision and make that say 5 hundredths. So this is 500. And then this is 3 hundredths. 3 hundredths is 0.03. 500 and 3 hundredths. Remember, I'm going to keep that imaginary decimal point there, and that's the part I'm going to line up. If I were to add that together, it would be 500 and 3 hundredths. So looking at the place value chart right here, the place value chart can actually help you, if you recall, because I could say, well, I have 5 hundredths, 0 tens, 0 ones, and then I have 0 tenths, and I have 3 hundredths. So if I keep the decimal point right where it is, 5 hundredths and 3 hundredths would go right there. Looking at this chart, I have used the place value chart to answer the following questions. Express the value in digit form. So the digit in the hundreds place. Well, what digit is in the hundreds place? You're right, it's 8. And the digit 8 in the hundredths place has a value if I were to write the number of 800. If I write the words, it would be 8 hundreds. And you'll be doing that on your paper, using both the number and the word form. The digit in the tens place. Well, the digit 2 is in the tens place, and it has a value of 20, which is also 2 tens. The digit in the tenths place, here's the tenths place, so the digit 6 is in the tenths place, and it has a value of 6 tenths. That's what it looks like in the fractional form. The number form would be 0.66 tenths, and the word form would be 6 tenths. And yes, you are going to write all three. Get yourself used to seeing that 6 tenths in a fraction is the same as 0.6 in the decimal form. And both of those, when you write them out and you talk about them, are 6 tenths. That TH at the end lets you know that it's less than 1 and it falls on the decimal side. The one in the hundredths place, the number in the hundredth place is a 4. The digit 4 is in the hundredths place, and it has a value of 4 100ths, 0.004. 4, because remember this 0 is for the tenth, and then 4 for the hundredths. And we would write that 4, write the word hundredths. And that would be how you would use the place value chart to answer and express the value in a digit unit form. So here's your digits, here's your unit form. You will probably be able to do the bottom part on that following the same pattern that you did on that one, on the one above. Looking at the next page, now there's a chart. And in this chart, if you look at the verbs in what it's asking us to do, it says to write each decimal as an equivalent fraction, and then write each number in expanded form using both the decimal and the fractional notation. If you look at the first one, it'll help you remember what we used to do when we had the big numbers and we made them be expanded form. You could do the same thing with these. We're going to follow that same pattern of 14 and 23 hundredths is the same as saying 14 and 23 hundredths in a fractional form. Let's look right here at 25 and 3/10. The fractional form would be 25 and 3/10. Over here, that 2 is actually representative of 2 times 10, plus the 5 is in the ones place, so it would be 5 times 1. 2 times 10 plus 5 times 1 would be equal to 25. Then I'm going to add plus 3 times 1/10. 3 times 1/10 is 3/10. Remember, we would add those. We would multiply the top ones right there. When I solve it, then 2 times 10 would be 20, plus 5, plus 3/10, which would be equal to 25 and 3/10. That's the fractional form. In the decimal notation, if you look at it, I'm actually going to switch colors over here to red so that you can see that the decimal notation is going to be a little bit different. But I'm still going to start the same way because 25 is a whole number. So 2 times 10 plus 5 times 1. That part of it doesn't change. Plus, now I'm going to have 3 times 0.1. This is 1/10, the decimal form of the fraction. And again, when I answer it, 2 times 10 is 20, plus 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 times 1.1 would be 0.3. And that would be equal to 25 and 3/10, which would be our first one right over there. Let's look at one that would happen in the hundredths. 39 and 7/100. Well, the fractional form would look like this: 39 and 7/100. Again, I'm going to look at 39 first. That's the whole number, so it's going to be 3 times 10 plus 9 times 1 plus, now I don't have to put 0 times 1/10 because it's just a 0. There are no tenths. I could, but I'm not going to because it would just give me extra things to write. So I'm just going to add the 7 times 100, 1/100th. 7 times 100. And that would be 30 plus 9 plus 7/100, which would be equal to 39 and 7/100. That's the fractional form. The decimal form is going to be the same: 3 times 10 for the whole number plus 9 times 1. That gives me 39. Plus, now this is going to change into a fractional form, so I'm going to have 7 times 0.01 because this is the decimal form, 0/10, 1/100. So I'm going to have 30 plus 9 plus 0.01. 7 times 1 is going to be 7/100. And that's going to be equal to 39 and 7/100, which is the original fractional form. Pause the video right now and go ahead and let's do 40 and 6/10. Okay, you've had a chance now to do it on your own. See if your answer matches my answer. 40 and 6/10 would be 40 and 6/10. 4 times 10. I don't need to put anything times 1 because that's a 0. Plus 6 times 1/10. Did you get the same one as me? 40 plus 6/10 equals 40 and 6/10. On the decimal side, it would be 4 times 10 plus 6 times 0. Oops, that's a 1. When you get good at this, you won't even need to put that 0. You'll just have to put the decimal point right there. But since we're not there yet, we're going to go ahead and put it in just like they do in Eureka Math. 40 plus 0.6 equals 40.6. Remember, there's an imaginary decimal point right there. So you have to line up the decimal points. And if you ever get to the point where you're not sure if you should add it, you can go ahead and take a blank piece of paper, line it up with the value grid that they already gave you, plug the numbers in because you know that this is where the decimal is going to be, and then you can say, well, I have 4 tens, 0 ones, and I have 0 tenths and 7 100ths or 6 100ths, and then you can just add it up and you'll see where the numbers are. You can use that as a strategy if you're not sure how to add it, but you just always want to make sure that you keep those decimals in line. Don't let them go all wonky all over the place or it won't give you a correct answer. You want to make sure that you line up those decimals just like we did right there. You can finish the rest of this on your own, and your exit ticket will have that. If you have any questions, ask Mrs. Sistey and I. That's what we're here for. And good luck, guys. I know you got this. Super proud of you.